why can't we get some balloons? Hey,
Because you didn't buy it, bro. You bought the turtle.
we didn't buy the turtle.
You might have money, ask me.
We got.
Hey, why can't we get some balloons? Because you didn't buy it, bro. We didn't buy the turtle. Shedeur Sanders just shut down Camp Skattebo after he mocked him on live television. This wasn't just a shutdown. This was a financial execution. So, don't skip a single second of this video. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let's begin. Man, this is exactly why I keep saying the NFL isn't just played on Sundays anymore. Because what happened in that room? That wasn't just jokes. That wasn't normal trash talk. That wasn't two guys chirping and moving on. Nah, you could feel it, even through a screen. The second that "you're broke" line landed, the whole vibe shifted like somebody cut the music off at a party. And if you know football culture, you know that silence after a comment tells you everything. Look at the setting. This wasn't some random Twitter exchange where everybody's trying to go viral. This was a live show, cameras rolling, young stars sitting shoulder to shoulder. And you've got real names in there. Micah Parsons, Shiloh, the Sanders brothers dudes who live in the spotlight and know exactly how clips travel. This is the kind of environment where you can talk crazy, but there are rules. It's like a locker room with microphones. You can joke, you can flex, you can clown a little bit, but you don't cross certain lines unless you really mean it. And that's why it hit different, because when you call a man broke on air, in front of his peers, you're not talking football anymore. You're trying to strip him. You're trying to embarrass him. You're trying to put him beneath you in real time, not based on film, not based on wins, but based on status. And in the modern NFL, status is a dangerous game. It's bigger than contracts now. It's brand, it's attention, it's respect, it's power, it's the invisible scoreboard that follows you everywhere. That's what people don't get. Draft position used to be the whole story. 5th round, people looked at you like you were lucky to be here. 1st round, they treated you like a king before you ever earned it. But that league is changing fast. The business is changing. The spotlight is changing. A guy can be drafted later and still have the whole world in his hands if the demand is real. So when Cam threw that line, it wasn't some harmless little jab. It was a challenge. It was him basically saying, "I'm above you." And the crazy part is, I don't even think he realized who he was talking to. Because certain players, you can shake them with that. Certain guys will get loud. Certain guys will start explaining themselves. Certain guys will try to win the moment with their mouth. But Shedeur didn't do any of that. And that's why this clip is everywhere right now. Because the response was colder than any comeback. It wasn't yelling, it wasn't arguing. It was that calm smile, the kind of smile that says, "You're playing checkers, and I'm not even on the same board." That's composure, that's control. That's the kind of reaction that makes people in the room start looking at each other like, "Oh, he's different." And as a fan, I'm telling you right now, this is the kind of moment that follows a player all season. Not because of what was said, but because of how it was handled. Because after that, it's not just about a joke anymore. It becomes a conversation about respect, about maturity, about who understands today's NFL and who's still stuck in the old one. And that's the point. This wasn't about money. It was about who actually understands today's NFL and who doesn't. Let's get something straight right now. Where he stands in this league is not where people keep trying to place him. Because if you're still talking about draft position like it's the final verdict, you're already behind. That conversation is outdated. That logic doesn't hold up anymore, and yet, that's exactly where a lot of the noise around him still comes from. 5th round. Late pick. Prove it. Status. That label gets thrown around like it defines his entire reality. But when you actually look at how the league moves today, not how it moved 10 years ago, that label starts to fall apart fast. On paper, sure. Depth chart conversations matter. Reps matter. Opportunities matter. But culturally, commercially, in terms of presence, he's already operating above that rookie box people keep trying to shove him into. This is a quarterback who walked into the league with eyes already on him, cameras already tracking him, fans already invested, and that didn't happen by accident. See, the media loves a clean storyline. They want the underdog who climbs quietly, or the first-round savior who gets crowned early. But he doesn't fit either mold neatly. He came in with confidence, with visibility, with a last name that guaranteed attention and a personality that doesn't hide from it. And for a lot of people, that alone makes them uncomfortable. Because confidence gets mistaken for arrogance real quick when it's not wrapped in silence. But fans see it differently. Fans see someone who's been in the spotlight his entire life and didn't fold. Someone who understands pressure because pressure has never left him. He didn't just wake up famous after draft night. He didn't suddenly have to learn how to deal with criticism. He's been dealing with it since college, since high school, since his name became part of the conversation before he ever took an NFL snap. That's why people gravitate toward him. It's not just talent. It's not just numbers. It's the way he carries himself. The way he talks. The way he doesn't rush to explain or apologize for who he is. Fans recognize that. Especially in a league where authenticity gets filtered through media narratives every single week. And that's also why people want to doubt him. Because doubting him feels safer than admitting he might already be ahead of the curve. It's easier to say he hasn't earned it yet than to accept that the game has changed and he understood it early. Being under a microscope didn't crack him, it sharpened him. Every interview, every clip, every opinion piece forced him to learn how to stay centered while everything around him moved fast. And public perception? It always lags behind reality in this league. We've seen this before. Think Jalen Hurts. Think Lamar early on. Think guys who didn't fit the traditional quarterback box and had to wait for the narrative to catch up. By the time the media adjusts, the player is already 3 steps ahead. They keep talking draft position. He keeps moving, like the league already belongs to him. That's not arrogance. That's awareness. Awareness of where the NFL is headed, not where it's been. And that's why moments like the one we just saw don't shake him, because he's already playing a bigger game. Let's talk about the part nobody wants to say out loud. The reason he keeps catching shots isn't because he's weak. It's because he's visible. That's how this league works. The moment a player shows up with hype, confidence, and attention already attached to his name, the temperature changes. Everybody's watching. Everybody's judging. And not everybody is rooting for you. Because hype doesn't just bring fans, it brings resentment. Especially in a league full of grown men who've been grinding for years, fighting for reps, fighting for respect, fighting for relevance. And that's where things get twisted. There's a fine line between earned confidence and perceived arrogance. And in the NFL, that line depends on who's telling the story. When a quiet guy believes in himself, it's leadership. When a loud guy does the same thing, it's ego. When someone moves like they belong before the league officially gives them permission, people get uncomfortable. They start questioning everything. Not because it's wrong, but because it challenges the order. And make no mistake, he didn't start this narrative. He didn't ask to be debated. He didn't ask to be dissected every time he speaks. That came with the name, the spotlight, and the way he carries himself. Others keep forcing him into it. Analysts, players, fans, everybody trying to test him, poke him, see if he'll crack. That pressure? It's always been heavier on him. From the jump, expectations followed him everywhere. Every throw was evaluated, every clip was clipped, every interview turned into a headline. And while some guys get time to grow quietly, he's been developing in public. That wears on you, or it sharpens you. And clearly, it's done the second. But here's the part people miss. Not everyone is comfortable watching someone move ahead fast, especially when they didn't follow the traditional path. Especially when the attention feels unearned to outsiders. That's when the shots come. That's when jokes turn personal. That's when someone tries to remind you where they think you belong. Locker room politics are real. Ego is real. Competition doesn't always stay on the field. Some guys see opportunity, others see competition, and they react differently. That's exactly what moments like this expose. Because if this was really just about football, it would have stayed about football. Stats, reps, playbooks, but it didn't. It went straight to status. And that tells you everything. When someone feels the need to diminish you publicly, it usually means they feel threatened privately. Not by your play, but by your presence. And the wild part? He never takes the bait. He doesn't spiral, he doesn't rant, he doesn't fire back. He lets the noise talk itself into a corner. That's discipline. That's understanding the long game. Because reacting emotionally might win a moment, but it costs you positioning. Every doubt thrown his way becomes a test. Every sideways comment becomes a checkpoint. Every shot becomes information. And instead of fighting it, he absorbs it, studies it, builds on it. That's why this criticism doesn't slow him down, it stacks him up. And every time they doubt him, he adds another layer to his foundation. The real statement didn't come from a microphone, it came from what he didn't say. Because in a league where everybody's quick to clap back, quick to argue, quick to trend for the wrong reasons, his silence stood out louder than any comeback ever could. That's emotional intelligence. That's understanding that not every moment needs a response, some moments need restraint. And restraint is rare in this league. Anyone can talk. Not everyone can stay calm when they're tested. Think about how easy it would have been to fire back. The cameras were right there. The clip was already halfway viral. One line, just one, and the internet would have exploded even more. Fans would have cheered. Headlines would have followed. But that's short-term noise. That's a sugar rush. And elite players? They don't chase sugar rushes. They think in seasons, in careers, in legacy. That's where this moment quietly separated him. Because composure is currency in today's NFL. Coaches notice it, teammates respect it, executives file it away. Brands definitely watch it. How you handle pressure off the field tells people a lot about how you'll handle it on Sundays. And what he showed right there was control. Not fear, not hesitation, control. We've seen this before. The guys who last in this league, the ones who lead locker rooms, who get trusted with franchises, they don't win every argument. They don't need to. Think about the quarterbacks who've taken that leap from talented to face of the team. It always comes with moments where they choose discipline over drama. Jalen Hurts didn't get loud. Lamar didn't fight every narrative. They let time, work, and results do the talking. That's the lane he's in. And make no mistake, people noticed. When a player stays composed under public pressure, it changes how he's viewed in rooms fans never see. Front offices value predictability. Brands value stability. Teammates value someone who won't bring chaos into the huddle. One calm reaction can outweigh 10 highlight clips when it comes to trust. This moment didn't just protect his image, it elevated it. Because silence, when used correctly, sends a message. It says, I don't need to prove myself to you. It says, I understand the bigger picture. It says, I'm confident enough to let this moment pass without chasing control of it. That's not passive. That's power. And the smile, that smile, told the whole story. It wasn't friendly. It wasn't awkward. It wasn't defensive. It was composed, calculated, almost knowing. Like someone who already sees where this road leads and isn't worried about a speed bump. That's how elite players separate themselves off the field. Not with noise, but with poise. Not with arguments, but with awareness. That's how reputations get built quietly while everyone else is yelling. So yeah, people will replay the comment. They'll debate who was right, who was wrong. But the people who matter, they saw something else entirely. They saw maturity. They saw control. They saw someone comfortable in his position, comfortable enough not to protect it with words. And that's the truth of it. That smile wasn't passive. It was controlled dominance. This is bigger than one comment, and that's exactly why fans should feel something right now. Because moments like this don't just fade away. They linger. They plant seeds. They signal where a player is headed long before the box scores catch up. We've seen it too many times to ignore it. That moment where someone gets tested publicly, stays steady, and then quietly levels up, that's usually the beginning of something real. This wasn't a setback. This was a tell. What it tells me is that he's already thinking past the noise, past the jokes, past the quick wins. He's not playing defense with his emotions. He's playing offense with his vision, and that matters. Especially for a quarterback, especially for someone who's going to be asked to lead grown men in chaotic moments when everything's on the line. Fans shouldn't be defensive about this. They should be excited, because confidence turns into leadership when it's backed by discipline. Anybody can believe in themselves when things are quiet. The real leaders are the ones who hold that belief when the lights are bright and the pressure is awkward and public. That's when you learn who's built for the long run. That's when you learn who's going to last. Composure leads to longevity, period. Quarterbacks who flame out usually don't lack talent, they lack control. Control of emotions, control of narratives, control of expectations. The ones who survive, the ones who build something meaningful, they understand that the league is watching everything. Not just throws, not just wins, everything. And vision? Vision takes you beyond stats. Stats matter. Wins matter. But the players who define eras understand that their impact stretches past Sundays. It's how they carry themselves Monday through Saturday. It's how they respond when they're tested, without pads on. It's how they represent stability in a league that thrives on chaos. This feels like one of those moments we'll look back on and say, that's when it started to click. Not because of what someone else said, but because of how he responded. Think about the players who took that next step after moments like this. The ones who stopped being potential and started being pillars. It always starts internally before it shows up on the field. That's why I believe this isn't just noise. It's momentum. The league isn't just about Sundays anymore, and he understands that better than most. He's playing the long game in a league obsessed with the short term. He's building something that doesn't crumble when the room gets loud. So now, I want to hear from you. Do you think moments like this actually shape a player's future? Or do you think it's just off-season drama that people are overreacting to? Drop your take in the comments. Let's talk about it for real. And if you want more of this, the moments behind the headlines, the context behind the clips, the stories that don't get broken down anywhere else, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're not here for surface-level takes. We're here for the real NFL stories.